Tell me about what happened that dark day.
Wow, how long have we got, as they say? But it's back in 2010. I was working as a tour guide in Israel. I've been in Israel several decades. And it was a Sabbath. I was guiding one friend. I'd actually met her in Poland when I was guiding an ecumenical tour of the Holocaust in Poland. And she wanted to come to Israel. So, I'm very easygoing. Said, come over for a long weekend. So Kristine Luken arrives on a Friday, and on the Sabbath, I'd planned this beautiful nature trail.
She's not Jewish, is she, Kristine?
No, Kristine's a Christian, was. And we're off, and I'm chatting about Roman coins, and we're walking through this. I mean, there's cyclamens, and there's palm trees, and pine trees, and I'm a bird watcher, and I can hear all these different birds. And we sit down on this rock and chatting away, and then 20 meters down the hill, I see something move in the bushes. I look again, and I see it's two men, and one stands up, and he cries out to me in Hebrew, but with an Arab accent. He says, Yesh lechen mayim, have you got water? Now, I didn't suspect what would happen. Spoiler, we won't go there at the moment. But I didn't want them to come close. I thought maybe they want my bag or something. So I just answered back in Hebrew, I wish, and they went away. So Kristine turns to me and she said, well, what was that? Now, I didn't want to worry her, right? You get kind of hardcore when you live in Israel. You're much more streetwise than people who probably don't. And I said, listen, let's just get back to the car. I've forgotten what we were going to do. I meant to go here and there. And I take out my little penknife. It's very, very small. That's the size of the blade. Because I have it for peeling apples. Because I felt at the time, Andrew, they probably might. What if they come and grab my backpack? It's got everything in it. So Kristine's behind me. We're walking down the hill. She screams. And as I turn around, one of the two men jump on me. I fall to the ground, I break my nose. I'm trying to fight with him, but I'm on my chest. And I managed to wiggle over, so I'm on my back. And now he's kneading his way up, like gouging out the air from my chest. And then I see my chance, like nipping in the nuts, in the balls.
With the knife?
Yeah. Well, you can. But he overpowers me, and he takes the knife and he hoists me up. And then it was very confusing because he was wearing an Israeli police jacket and he had Israeli army trousers on, which was such dissonance. And he puts his hand inside the police jacket and he takes out a machete, which is a foot long and it's got a serrated blade. It's quite wide. And I tell you, I see that knife. I mean, I actually, even retelling it now, I can kind of feel that I'm thirsty. And one of the things, it felt like my tongue was covered in sandpaper. There was a thirst from nowhere, just thirst, like I hadn't drunk any water for a week. Covered in sweat from nowhere, tremoring. Is that a word? Tremoring. Yeah. And I pissed my pants. And I thought, where's Kristine? And I look around and the other man has his hand like this around her neck and he's got a kitchen knife to her throat. And then begins half an hour, which is Yamshil's night. It's like eternity. We're standing under this canopy of pines and I can listen to the birds and the crickets are going. We're being held at knife point. And finally, one of them goes through my backpack and he finds my Israeli ID. And I remember opening it up and like he grins, he's got the Jew. And I'm trying to manage Kristine at this point, right? I didn't want her to panic and then they start stabbing us, heaven forbid. So I'm trying to negotiate with them. I'm saying, I have a Mercedes car. I couldn't think, it was a Nissan Micra. Take my keys. I promise we won't say anything. I'm doing all this in Hebrew with them and a little bit of Arabic. And with her, I find myself saying, because I saw her face, it was ashen and her pupils were huge and dark and black and her mouth was half open, it was frozen and her chin was juddering. And I'm saying to Kristine, whispering as fast as I can, it happens all the time in Israel, we're going to get out of this, just don't panic, So there's this dichotomy going on. And one of them makes phone calls and I can hear he's talking in Arabic about a car, like, where's the car? And at that moment I thought, oh my gosh, we're going to be kidnapped. And as I thinking, trying to take that in, the other one says to me in Hebrew, take off your shoes. He takes out the laces. They tie our hands behind our back. They gag us. They cut up Christine's fleece. He takes off my Star of David, my sunglasses, and we're standing now barefoot, gagged and bound side by side. And I'm waiting to be pushed down through the forest into this car and taken off to Gaza somewhere. And instead of that, they separate us by no more than 2 meters. Actually, the distance I am from you, less. And one puts me on my knees, forces me to my knees. And at that point, I understood that he was going to behead me. Now, I think it would take a lifetime for me to articulate what that actually felt like. I was too scared to be frightened anymore. It's like water in a bathtub, and you pull out the plug and the water goes, it just drains itself. That's what I felt like. Everything I was just emptied. I was like a shell. And the only thing I could say to God or whatever, to him, it's just like, just please do it quickly. All these thoughts, is he going to chop my head off? Is he going to saw it off? Is he going to hack it off? Just do it quickly. And instead of that, there's I'm a musician, so a lot of this is, the sounds are very important to me. It's like this cosmic symphony of monotheism. They do the takbir, Allahu Akbar. I hear Kristine whimper, Jesus, save me. And I threw up behind my gag and I say, Shema Israel, hear Israel, hear O Israel. And he stabs me back in the back so hard, I fall to the ground and I'm on my side and he now leaning on me and he's plunging this knife into me. And because it's serrated, it keeps getting stuck in my bone. And he's just peeved. He chose the wrong knife. And it's relentless. The pain, I could talk about that, but it hardly needs to be said. And the only thing I knew to do at that time to have one chance of surviving was to play dead. So I kept my eyes open, assuming that's how people die in. And like I said, 1.5 meters, 2 meters away, I'm looking sideways on the ground and I'm watching Kristine. She's on her back and she's trying to squirm and miss the knife and he's hacking her up like this. And while the other one's still breaking my bone, I can hear my bones crunch. They leave after 17 stabs from me. I can see, pieces of Kristine. It's like everything's like the red is mixed with the green and it's like such a gory mess. And I'm laying there thinking, oh my God, I've just been murdered. I mean, I didn't know if I was dead or alive, but I was cognizant that I'd just been murdered. And as I'm laying there trying to just take it in, that the show is not going to go on anymore, there's vibrations on the ground in my ear and it's footsteps and they come back. And one rolls me on my back and now I'm looking up at this the most beautiful canopy of pine trees. And it's late in the afternoon and it's this gorgeous sunset. The sun, it's like orange and then there's pink and a little bit of purple. I think this is the last sunset I'm going to see. And then that sun is suddenly covered by the silhouette of a man's hand that God made, clutching this knife. It was all black, right? Black hand, black jagged edge, and then this gorgeous sunset. And I watch him stab me in the chest. And I don't flinch, move, blink. That one missed my heart by 4 millimeters. They leave. They think we're both dead. And I have one last commission in life, which is to die nearer where I parked the car so the police could find my body. And it's obviously a terrible struggle to stand. That's like an understatement. It's like saying World War II is a bit inconvenient. I'm tied up. I've got ribs coming out of me. And after 3 times, all I wanted to do actually was sleep. Nothing hurt anymore, by the way, nothing. I just wanted to sleep, but I knew sleep is death. So after the 3rd time, I find myself on my feet and the elation, it's like I did it. I was so happy. that's what's going on in your head. And I turned my back on what's left of Kristine and just step by step, gag bound, barefoot. And I'm using my tour guide stuff. Okay, where's west? Where's east? These trees go up on the hill. These grow down on the hill. Like I was trying to navigate where I parked the car. And I can hear I had a collapsed lung. Had over 30 broken bones, 18 machete wounds, dislocated shoulder, broken shoulder blade, crushed sternum, bones in my lungs, a sliced diaphragm. And in that state, I walked over a mile and I managed to get to a picnic site where there was a few Israeli families packing up, for the end of the Shabbat. And I never forget this. The sun is behind me. And I'm trying to say, I can't breathe. It's like breathing through a straw. Every time I breathe in, I gurgle. And I'm trying to find energy to shout through the gag, but I've puked up and it's blocking my airways. And I can see them. Because the sun is lighting up their picnic table. I'm thinking, for God's sake, take a look. And I can't say anything. I know I'm on my last breath. And then my shadow, I just remember how my shadow seeped over the hummus and the Diet Coke and the pita bread. And this woman looks up and she screams. So from that moment on, they called the ambulance. There's an army helicopter. I get rushed to hospital. Look, I'm born here, right? But I left after high school. And there's something about British irony I love. And I can laugh at this because I should laugh about what happened to me. But I remember being in the Dasa En Kerem hospital, and the last words I heard was from one surgeon to another who said, Muhammad, tanlita sakin, which is, Muhammad, pass me that knife, give me the scalpel. And I say it every time, Andrew. It was an Arab, Muslim, Israeli surgeon who saved my life. Kristine's body was found the next day because it was already dark and it was hard to locate her body. Obviously, I've been in years of physical recovery. Psychological recovery is ongoing. I was in court with them. And in the court, the judge actually asked them, well, why did you murder an American Christian? And I looked at them and they shrugged and they smirked and they said, we thought she was Jewish. So they were sentenced. This is the kind of savages that we're talking about who stand to be released. These are the kind of savages who are being championed on through the streets of London in the name of free Palestine.
That's the worst story I've ever heard.
It is very difficult. I've been translating some of the October the 7th stories, and they're pretty much gruesome too.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a worse, to be honest, but yeah, it was very barbaric.